The echoes of the First World War faded, but its unresolved grievances festered, planting the seeds for an even greater catastrophe. Across Europe, new, aggressive ideologies took root. In Germany, Nazism promised a return to greatness through expansion and racial purity. In Italy, fascism championed nationalism and authoritarian control. Japan, meanwhile, pursued imperial ambitions in Asia, driven by a desire for resources and regional dominance. The international community, weakened by economic depression and a longing for peace, struggled to respond effectively to these rising threats, setting a dangerous precedent of appeasement that emboldened aggressors. The stage for a second global conflict was meticulously set. On September 1, 1939, Germany launched a devastating invasion of Poland, employing a new military strategy known as Blitzkrieg, or Lightning War. This involved rapid, coordinated attacks by tanks, motorized infantry, and air power, overwhelming defenses swiftly. Britain and France, having pledged to protect Poland, issued ultimatums. When Germany refused to withdraw, they declared war, marking the official beginning of World War II in Europe. The invasion shattered any remaining hopes for peace and plunged the continent into a conflict unlike any seen before, demonstrating the brutal efficiency of modern warfare. Following Poland's rapid defeat, the phony war gave way to a relentless German offensive in the West. In spring 1940, German supremacy was key to survival. Despite a non-aggression pact, Hitler turned his attention eastward, launching Operation Barbarossa in June 1941, the invasion of the Soviet Union. This monumental campaign opened the brutal Eastern Front, the largest land conflict in history. Millions of German soldiers surged across the border, driving deep into Soviet territory, aiming to destroy communism and seize vital resources. The initial advance was swift, catching the Soviets by surprise, but the vastness of Russia, the ferocity of Soviet resistance, and the brutal winter weather soon began to take their toll. This front would become a grinding war of attrition, characterized by immense casualties and unparalleled brutality on both sides. The war's scope expanded dramatically beyond Europe. Japan, seeking to establish its Greater East Asia Co-Prosperity Sphere, launched a surprise attack on the U.S. naval base at Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941. This devastating strike brought the United States formally into the war, transforming it into a truly global conflict. Simultaneously, Japan rapidly expanded its control across Southeast Asia and the Pacific, overwhelming Allied forces. The entry of the United States shifted the balance of power, bringing immense industrial capacity and manpower to the Allied cause, setting the stage for a prolonged and brutal fight across two vast theaters. By 1942 and 1943, the tide of war began to shift. On the Eastern Front, the Battle of Stalingrad proved a catastrophic defeat for Germany, marking a turning point that halted their advance and began the long, brutal Soviet counteroffensive. In North Africa, Allied forces pushed back Rommel's Afrika Korps. Key naval victories in the Pacific, like the Battle of Midway, crippled Japan's carrier fleet, stemming their expansion. The strategic bombing campaigns over Germany intensified, weakening its industrial and military capacity. These crucial victories demonstrated the effectiveness of Allied coordination and the sheer scale of their combined effort. The climactic push for victory in Europe began with Operation Overlord. On June 6, 1944, Allied forces launched D-Day, the largest seaborne invasion in history, landing on the beaches of Normandy, France. Despite fierce German resistance, the beachheads were secured, opening a crucial second front against Nazi Germany. This monumental effort saw vast numbers of troops, vehicles, and supplies poured into Western Europe. The subsequent breakout from Normandy led to the rapid liberation of France and Belgium, driving the Allied armies steadily eastward towards Germany. The success of D-Day was a testament to meticulous planning, immense courage, and overwhelming logistical power. Amidst the global conflict, the Nazis orchestrated the Holocaust, a systematic, state-sponsored persecution and murder of 6 million Jews and millions of others deemed undesirable. Concentration and extermination camps like Auschwitz-Birkenau became industrial killing centers, a stark symbol of unimaginable cruelty and human depravity. The liberation of these camps by Allied forces revealed the full horror of the genocide to the world, exposing the depths of Nazi ideology. The Holocaust remains a chilling reminder of the dangers of hatred, fanaticism, and unchecked power, compelling humanity to remember and prevent such atrocities from ever happening again. As Allied forces converged on Germany from east and west, the end in Europe drew near. The Soviets relentlessly advanced towards Berlin, engaging in fierce street-to-street combat. Simultaneously, Western Allied forces crossed the Rhine and swept into the heart of Germany. With his capital under siege and defeat inevitable, Adolf Hitler committed suicide in his bunker on April 30, 1945. A week later, on May 8, 1945, Germany officially surrendered unconditionally to the Allies. This day, celebrated as VE Day, marked the end of the war in Europe, bringing relief and jubilation, but also confronting a continent in ruins. While Europe celebrated, the war in the Pacific raged on. Allied forces faced tenacious Japanese resistance and brutal island-hopping campaigns. Fearing a protracted and costly invasion of mainland Japan, President Harry S. Truman made the agonizing decision to deploy a new, devastating weapon. On August 6, 1945, the United States dropped an atomic bomb on Hiroshima, followed by a second on Nagasaki 3 days later. The unprecedented destructive power of these weapons, coupled with the Soviet invasion of Manchuria, forced Japan's hand. On August 15, 1945, Emperor Hirohito announced Japan's unconditional surrender, officially ending World War II. VJ Day, September 2, marked the formal surrender aboard the USS Missouri. World War II was the deadliest conflict in human history, claiming an estimated 70 to 85 million lives. It irrevocably altered the global political landscape. Empires collapsed, and two new superpowers, the United States and the Soviet Union, emerged, ushering in the Cold War era. The war's devastation prompted the creation of the United Nations, an international body dedicated to preventing future conflicts. While the war left behind a legacy of unparalleled destruction and suffering, it also spurred technological advancements and a renewed commitment to human rights. The lessons of World War II continue to shape international relations, reminding us of the fragility of peace and the imperative of cooperation.